could we have another volunteer, please, to read the next extract? Nicholas, please.
Kyle ran into his house, slamming the door behind him. He threw his book back on the floor and plopped onto the couch. After 6 hours of playing Grand Larceny VII, he ate some pizza and fell asleep with a slice on his stomach and his feet on his book bag. When Kyle came home from school the next day, he was noticeably distraught. He balled up his report card and placed it inside a soup can in the garbage. He then flipped the soup can upside down in the garbage can and arranged loose pieces of trash over it. As he plopped down on the couch, he let out a sigh and picked up his controller.
Thank you. Why is Kyle upset? So again, if you could write or type out your answer using the PEE paragraph format, please. About 3 minutes. Okay, thank you. So we've got an example answer here. Kyle is disappointed because he got a negative score on his report card. This is evident within the line. He balled up his report card and placed it inside a soup can in the garbage. This suggests that he doesn't want his parents to see the score he has on his report card. However, it also suggests that he's uninterested because in the first line it states that he was in his own house. Okay, so the fact that he balled up the report card, yes, absolutely. And look at what he did the day before as well. He was uninterested. And I think that wasn't a finished answer there. So he was very much uninterested because he threw his book bag on the floor, popped on the couch and played 6 hours on his PC and ate some pizza and fell asleep. Didn't even open his book bag as well. So he was very uninterested in achieving good grades as well. So we learned quite a lot about Kyle there in terms of the inferences that we can make. Okay, could I have another volunteer, please? A Chatresh, please.
Anastasia sat by the fountain in the park with her head in her palms. She was weeping mournfully, and her clothing was
Disheveled.
In between gasps and sobs, Anastasia cried out a name, "Oh, John." And then her cell phone beeped. Her hand ran into her purse and her heart fluttered. The text message was from John. She opened up the message and read the few bare words, "I need to go. I need to get my jacket back from you." And her sister threw her head into her arms and continued sobbing.
Thank you. So, what relationship did John and Anastasia have? Remember to include your evidence from the text. 3 minutes. Okay, so an example answer there. something has happened between them, which has made Anastasia heartbroken. The text says that she was sobbing and John needs his things back, which seems to make her more sad, and her heart flutters when she receives a text message, but she seems like it's not good news. She was quite hopeful when her heart was fluttering there. Just looking at some of the other answers there, some really good answers. Well, the
Excuse me.
We have a question there in the chat. How do we know what relationship? So this is an inference that we make, that their relationship is that they are no longer in a relationship, they have been before, and something has happened between them. Okay, next one, please. Could we have Ishan, please? Ishan, are you okay to read? No? Okay, could we then have Diksha, please?
Calvin was waiting in front of the corner store at 3:56. His muscles were tense and he was sweating a bit more than usual. The other kids gathered in front of the little storefront were much more relaxed, even playful. They joked back and forth lightly to each other, but for Calvin, time slowed. 3:57. Don't worry, Calvin. He ain't even gonna show up. Calvin hoped that he wouldn't. A black four-door Camry with tinted windows pulled up and parked across the street. Calvin gulped. 3:58. A group of teenagers piled out of the car. James was in the front. Hiya, Calvin. Glad you could make it, James said. Calvin felt smaller.
You. So question number one, what is Kelvin waiting for? And how do you know? Are Kelvin and James friends? And how do you know? About 3 minutes. Okay, so what is Calvin waiting for? Quite a few of you have said that he's waiting for James to turn up. And the fact that his muscles were tense, he was sweating a bit more than usual, and the fact that time slowed for Calvin. And he was worried and he hoped that he wasn't going to turn up, which really suggests that he's waiting for something that's not very pleasant. Perhaps he's arranged to have a fight with James. And when he does arrive, Calvin felt smaller, which means essentially that James intimidates Calvin in terms of his feelings. So you can suggest that they are not friends. He's not looking forward to meeting with him. Absolutely not friends at all. He's really not, he's really intimidated by him. And he's terrified, essentially, of him turning up. Okay, next, could I have hands up, please, for volunteers who would like to read? Could I have Arabella, please?
Ryan was looking forward to sleeping over at his friend Robert's house. Though they had been classmates for a while, The two had only recently become good friends. Ryan packed up his sleeping bag, a pillow, and a few of his favourite toys and games, and then his mum dropped him off at Robert's. Robert met Ryan on the porch, and the two did their secret handshake and started playing right away. First they played pirates in Rob's tree fort. Next they played ninjas in Drive Away. Then it started getting dark, and they went inside of Robert's house. As soon as they walked in the house, Ryan's eyes started getting red and itchy. He saw a big orange cat sitting on the couch. Then he started sneezing uncontrollably. "I'm sorry, Robert. It's been a lot of fun, but I have to call my mum."
Thank you very much. So what relationship do Ryan and Robert have? And why does Ryan have to leave? A few minutes again. Some really good answers coming through there. What relationship do Ryan and Robert have? Well, they are good friends because Ryan was looking forward. They had only recently become good friends. And why does Ryan have to leave? Well, as soon as they walked into the house, Ryan's eyes started getting itchy. Sounds like an allergy to me. And then a relatable sentence there. He saw the cat and he started sneezing uncontrollably, and he needs to call his mum. So we've got quite a lot of evidence that we could use there as well. Okay, next extract, please. Could I have Yusuf, please?
Mr. Thomas sat on the front porch of his house in a bathrobe and bunny slippers with his head in his hands. He was holding the daily newspaper. The sun shined brightly in the sky. His neighbours were coming out of their houses and getting in their cars. Mr. Thomas sighed. His neighbour, Mr. Rosencrantz, stepped out on his porch and saw Mr. Thomas. "Did it again, huh?" said Mr. Rosencrantz. Mr. Thomas replied, "Yes." Mr. Rosencrantz chuckled and said, "Here, Mr. Thomas, you can use my cell phone. I can even keep a key over here if you wanted." Tom thankfully grabbed the cell phone and called his wife. "Honey, I did it again." Mr. Rosencrantz heard Mrs. Thomas yelling at Mr. Thomas in a distorted, high-pitched squeal. "Yes, dear, I'm so sorry. I'll see you soon." Mr. Thomas returned the phone, sighed deeply, and ran his fingers through his hair.
Thank you. What has Mr. Thomas done? And what kind of crazy? How do you know? That's a minute. Some really good answers coming through there. We've got an example answer here. Mr. Thomas has managed to lock himself out again. This is demonstrated the fact that he is in his bathrobe and bunny slippers, and a neighbour is offering to keep his keys for future as a backup, which does suggest indeed that he has locked himself out of the house. And it's also suggested that the neighbour offers for him to use his cell phone. And the time is, yes, indeed, it's the morning. The sun is shining. Neighbours are leaving for work. Again, he's in his bathrobe. He's holding the morning paper. So it looks as if he's gone out to retrieve the newspaper that has been delivered and locked himself out of the house. Just checking the messages there.